recipe, it's 3 tablespoons of walnuts. Doesn't have to be exact, but approximately 3 tablespoons. Make sure you got a sharp knife to work with. If your knife is dull, it could lead to injury, so make sure your knife is nice and sharp. And you're gonna do a bit of a rocking motion.
You know, the key with chopping is to never bring the knife off of the chopping board. I learned that somewhere along the way.
That's a good tip. So
I'm getting some nods out in the audience.
So just do a rocking motion, and then your knife stays on the cutting board. And you want to kind of fold your other hand over so your fingers are not in the way.
Oh, yes. So you don't chop off a fingertip. That's good.
Right, so just keep the other hand like this. Walnuts are excellent for your brain.
All right.
Cognitive health. All right, so we got our walnuts finely chopped. I'm going to chop our pecans. Another excellent fall ingredient to use. And you could store them in the refrigerator just to keep them nice and fresh. You know, we live in Florida, so to prevent oxidation of the healthy fats within the nuts, you could even store them in your refrigerator.
So talking about urinary health, and cranberries are great for that as well.
That's true. So
urine and bladder health.
Absolutely. So cranberries are good for urinary health. You just got to make sure you're not getting, if you buy cranberry juice, it's not sweetened, because that could be a lot of added sugar. So an extract would also be very useful there to avoid any sugar, and just get the cranberry.
That's true. Okay.
So I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper to assemble this. You could also use plastic wrap, but I have some unbleached parchment paper here. So you could also use cream cheese for this recipe, but I'm using goat cheese today. It's actually, interestingly, it's a good source of minerals. That it actually has more calcium than cream cheese. But the main reason I chose goat cheese is because if you have somebody at your Thanksgiving who doesn't eat dairy, this is a nice dairy-free option. So somebody who does eat dairy could eat the pumpkin pie dip, and then somebody who doesn't could eat the goat cheese.
Oh, that's a great idea.
You're gonna form your log here.
This is like an art project.
So I'm just gonna take my chopped nuts and cranberries and put them in the center of the parchment paper. So you're gonna make a nice little bed for your goat cheese. And just kind of combine them, mix it around. And then I'm just gonna add a pinch of salt, a couple pinches of salt on top of this.
How's that?
Perfect. All right, so now that we have our bed, we're gonna put the goat cheese in the center. All right. And as you're working with it, just continue to form that shape. Okay, so we're gonna go like this and just coat it evenly with your toppings.
And this just looks so fun and so easy. I've always been intimidated by these logs. You know,
yeah, they're
you
super
just
easy.
think that it takes a lot of skill, but it seems like it's quite easy to make.
Yeah, if you don't want to chop it up, you could just use your food processor, get everything chopped, and then go ahead and roll it on up.
Wow.
All right, so now I'm just gonna place it in the center here. I'm gonna put any extra toppings toward the goat cheese. And then I'm gonna fold it. And that's it. So there you have it. You could store this in the refrigerator until you're ready to eat it, or you could eat it right away. I recommend storing it for at least 1 hour. just to get the shape to hold, get it chilled a little bit before serving so it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, and then the goat cheese will harden some, so then whenever you cut it, you'll have nice, even pieces.
You could have nice, even discs when you cut it. So there you have it. There's your easy Thanksgiving recipes. We're sampling them here today, so come on up and grab a sample. And thank you for joining us today.